Hi everyone, welcome back to part 3 of Damon Runyon's story, The Snatching of Bookie Bob, from his series of short stories called On Broadway, which the musical Guys and Dolls was based around. Let's see what happens now. Well, this is most disquieting news to me, not because I care if they snatch Bookie Bob or not, but because somebody may see me talking to them who will remember about it when Bookie Bob is snatched. But of course, it will not be good policy for me to show Harry the horse and Spanish John and Little Isadore that I am nervous, so I only speak as follows. Harry, I say, every man knows his own business best, and I judge you know what you are doing, but you are snatching a hard guy when you snatch Bookie Bob. A very hard guy indeed. In fact, I hear the softest thing about him is his front teeth, so it may be very difficult for you to get him to settle after you snatch him. No, Harry the horse says, we will have no trouble about our finger gives us Bobby's whole card. And it's a most surprising thing indeed. But, Harry the horse says, you come upon many surprising things in human nature when you are on the snatch. Bookie Bob's whole card is his ever-loving wife's opinion of him. You see, Harry the horse says, Bookie Bob has been putting himself away with his ever-loving wife for years as a very important guy in this town, with much power and influence. Although, of course, Bookie Bob knows very well he stands about as good as a broken leg. In fact, Bookie Bob figures that his ever-loving wife is the only one in the world who looks on him as a big guy, and he will sacrifice even his scratch or anyone some of it, rather than let her know that guys have such little respect for him as to put the snatch on him. It is what you call psychology, Harry the horse says. Well, this does not make good sense to me, and I am thinking to myself, that the psychology that Harry the horse really figures to work out nice on Bookie Bob is tickling his feet with matches. But I am not anxious to stand there arguing about it, and pretty soon I bid them all good evening. Very polite and take the wind, and I do not see Harry the horse or Spanish John or Little Isadore again for a month. In the meantime, I hear gossip here and there that Bookie Bob is missing for several days. And when he finally shows up again, he gives it out that he is very sick during his absence. But I can put 2 and 2 together as well as anybody in this town, and I figure that Bookie Bob is snatched by Harry the horse and Spanish John and Little Isadore, and the chances are it costs him plenty. So, I am looking for Harry the horse and Spanish John and Little Isadore to be around the racetrack with plenty of scratch and betting them higher than a cat's back, but they never show up. And what is more, I hear they leave Manhattan and are back in Brooklyn, working every day handling beer. Naturally, this is very surprising to me, because the way things are running, beer is a tough dodge just now, and there's very little profit in the same. And I figure that with the scratch they must make off Bookie Bobby. Harry the horse and Spanish John and Little Isadore have a right to be taking things easy. Now, one night I am in Good Time Charlie's Bernstein's Little Speak in 48th Street, talking of this and that with Charlie. Well, in comes Harry the horse, looking very weary and by no means prosperous. Naturally, I give him a large hello, and by we get a gabbing together, and I ask him whatever becomes of the Bookie Bob matter. And Harry the horse tells me as follows. Yes, Harry the horse says, we snatch Bookie Bob all right. In fact, we snatch him on the very next night after we's talking to you on a Wednesday night. Our finger tells us Bookie Bob is going to wake over in his old neighborhood on 10th Avenue near 38th Street, and this is where we pick him up. He is leaving the place in his car, along with about midnight, and of course Bookie Bob is alone, as he seldom lets anybody ride with him because of the wear and tear on his car cushions, and Little Isadore swings our flivver in front of him and makes him stop. Naturally, Bookie Bob is greatly surprised when I poke my head into his car and tell him I wish the pleasure of his company for a short time. And at first he is inclined to argue the matter, saying I must make a mistake, but I put the old convincer on him by letting him peek down the snozzle of my John Roscoe. We lock his car and throw the keys away, and then we take Bookie Bob in our car and go to a certain spot on East Avenue where we have a nice little apartment already. When we get there, I tell Bookie Bob that he can call up anybody he wishes and state that the snatch is on him and that it will require 25 G's cash money to take it off. But of course, I also tell Bookie Bob that he is not to mention where he is, or something may happen to him. Well, I will say one thing for Bookie Bob. Although everybody is always weighing in the sacks on him and saying he's no good, he takes it like a gentleman and very calm and businesslike. Furthermore, he does not seem alarmed, as many citizens are when they find themselves in such a situation. He recognizes the justice of our claim at once, saying as follows: "I'll telephone my partner Sam Salt," he says. "He is the only one I can think of who is apt to have such a sum of 25 G's cash money. But," he says, "if you gentlemen will pardon the question, because this is a new experience to me, how do I know everything will be okay for me when you get the scratch?" "Why," I say to Bookie Bob, somewhat indignant, "it is well known to one and all in this town that my word is my bond. There are two things I am bound to do, and one is to keep my word in such a situation as this, and the other is to pay anything I owe to a bookmaker, no matter what. But these are obligations of honor with me." "Well," Bookie Bob says, "of course I do not know you gentlemen, and in fact I do not remember ever seeing any of you, although your face is somewhat familiar. But if you pay your bookmaker, you are an honest guy, and one in a million. In fact, if I have all the scratch that is owing to me around this town, I will not be telephoning anybody for such a sum of 25 G's. I will have such a sum in my pants pocket for change." Now, Bookie Bob calls a certain number and talks to somebody there, but he does not get Sam Salt, and he seems much disappointed when he hangs up the receiver again. "This is a very tough break for me," he says. "Sam Salt goes to Atlantic City an hour ago on a very important business and will not be back until tomorrow evening, and they do not know where he is to stay in Atlantic City, and I cannot think of anybody else to call to get this scratch, especially nobody I will care to have known I'm in this situation." "Why not call your ever-loving wife?" I say. "Maybe she can think up this kind of scratch." Well, we'll see if he falls in with that and calls his ever-loving wife tomorrow. Until next time, good night. See you soon. God bless. Bye-bye. Stay safe, won't you?